Do you want me to share the agenda or yes? Okay.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. Can y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Great. So I will go ahead and call this meeting to order at 12:01. Roll call. I assume you've gotten everyone's names down.
Yes.
Item number 2, citizen communication.
Yes, we have one person that has signed up, Ron Lozano. So I'm going to give him a call right now. This will be the first.
Good luck.
Hello.
Ron.
Yes.
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm calling you for the citizen communication.
Okay. Yeah, I gather that may be the better time to do it because usually I do it by the items, but well, I'll tell you what, I wait to take item number 4. And so can I talk for a moment? All right. Well, I looked at the agenda, and I think there are several items, including 4 and 7. In fact, with the exception to some extent of the Eagle Scout, which may be the first, they're all lacking in information that the Texas Open Meetings Act requires. And if there are action items, such as potentially 7 might be, I thoroughly think they're subject to litigation and eventually nullifying whatever, if any, result is reached today. But I'll go ahead and wait for number 4, and I appreciate it, Mr. Mendes.
Yes, sir. I'll call you right back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Javier. Item number 3, presentation and possible action on the proposed Eagle Scout project by candidate Ethan Honedell at the city cemetery.
Yes, let me take off my screen so he can share his. You're on, Ethan.
Okay, and sharing. So I'm trying to propose a refurbishment of the F Street Cemetery, where I will be placing medallions on the gravestones. So I thought of this project when we were trying to do Reads Across America, and we just couldn't find anyone because the lot and plot the graves had become dilapidated and we couldn't find anyone even with the updated one. So we had gone over and we thought it would be a great project if we put little medallions on the veterans' graves so that we could tell where they were at just a glance. And we also thought that I could do a aerial, more recent picture of the lot and plot, so that way we could have a mapped version of where all the graves were for the veterans. This is us at the gravesite trying to find where everything was. So there was Eagle Scout project here once after one of the not natural disasters, but after a hurricane, it really dilapidated the whole thing. So another group of Boy Scouts went in and tried to refurbish it, but that was a while ago and it has become run down once again. And we are going to try to refurbish it. Yeah, we're gonna place markers. Yeah, we're gonna place little markers on the graves that are little medallions. So I'm pretty sure it will be provided by the city, the grave markers. The Veterans Board will be providing the medallions, so that is already provided. All of the stuff's already set up. Yeah, we'll be adhering it with liquid nails. It will look. These will be the potential medallions that we'll be using. So we have searched Harlingen Library for the Lawton plot. We are still attempting to get our previous plot back, so that way we can locate the graves. And that's it. I believe Parks and Rec Depot may have informed some previous projects. And if you guys had any information on the previous project that had gone there, like any markers, anything like that, any previous project proposal that we had, if they have any maps or previous work that they did, so that way I could build on theirs.
Yeah, we do, Ethan. We have some maps that was created several years back. And so there's a surveyor that plotted a lot of those sites for us. They just don't have like markers or names. The location.
Yeah, we are providing the markers from the veterans because each veteran is entitled to a marker. Right. They just haven't had anyone place them yet. So I am adhering those.
Also, about 2 years ago, we did have some ladies come in and they put together a index of headstones, which was just basically for all the veterans that are out there. So it kind of gives you the names, the plots, and the lots, whatever was available to them. So if that can help you in any way, we can make that available to you also.
Thank you. That would be great. Any questions for my proposal? Any other questions about what I'm doing or?
What is your proposed timeline on this?
We're thinking about starting in 2-3 months, preferably after school, since it is coming to an end. And after that, we plan on taking 1 or 2 more months to actually complete the whole thing. We are gonna try and lay everything out. We're just gonna start real preparations in 2 months. Sorry.
Great. Well, it's a very honorable project. Thank you for thinking of that and for our veterans. And please take lots of pictures. And if you would you please get on the agenda when the project is finished and show us the progress and show us the end result? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ethan. We appreciate it, and best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
Ethan, just to note, so what we'll do is the next step would be is that we take it to the city commission for approval. So at the next meeting, which would be 2 weeks, I can place an item on the agenda so that if you can do your presentation similar to what you did right now before the city commission.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's see.
Item on the agenda.
Yeah, let me see.
Is there anything else needed from me?
No, sir. We're good.
So do I have the approval from the council?
Yeah, so we need to take a vote.
Okay. Oh, possible action. I see it. Okay. Board, do I have a motion to approve the proposed Eagle Scout projects by Ethan Honadell at the City Cemetery?
I make a motion to approve that.
Philip moves. And do I have a second?
I second.
Diana seconds. Is anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Ethan, you've got the board's approval. Your next step is the city commission, so best of luck.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stick around, or you can go back and it's lunchtime and probably have your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4, discussion and selection of possible park projects to submit for the fiscal year 2021 CDBG grant funding cycle. And I think Javier is going to call Mr. Lozano. Is that correct?
Yes.
Javier, we've got a lot of things on the agenda. Are we okay with limiting him to 3 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Good point, Adele.
Hello?
Ron.
Yes.
Okay, so we're on item number 4, and I think you had asked for us to call you when we're getting ready to discuss that one. So we're gonna because of time. Hold on, Ron. Just because of time, we're gonna limit it to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Right.
There's, I think 3 subsections on there under like ABC under 4, right?
No, number 4 is the selection of possible park projects to submit to the CDBG.
Okay. And you haven't made a presentation on that. So do you have an idea which are the possible projects?
Yeah, so I was gonna get ready to present those to the.
Well, can I listen in and then if I need to ask anything, I'll say something. If not, I'll just not say anything.
Okay.
See, that's the problem. That's the way that. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So let me bring up this. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So these are projects, and they're not necessarily in any order by priority. It's just projects that we've had for the last 3 years that we presented to CDBG and to the board. And so the first one I'm going to talk about is Victor Park Pool. So if you all remember, we've done phase 1 and phase 2 of the repairs there at the Victor Park Pool, and so we wanted to continue with that and finish that project off. And so that would include or involve the removal of the decking, redoing the plumbing. So that cost estimate is $98,000. And then if we were to add the shade shelters to that project, it would be an additional $24,000. And so right now we don't know actually how much money CDBG is going to be, how much funding is going to be available, but we would, depending on how much money is available, of course, we would have to evaluate that as well. The second project that I got here is Victor Park improvements. And so again, we've been doing several improvements there at Victor. And so one of the things that we want to do is to add parking spaces to the project, to the park, on several events that go on there with the Little League and the football leagues. There's limited parking, and so people are parking along the streets, and it's kind of dangerous. So we came up with a estimate of $218,000 for the parking lot construction. This will be new parking.
Would that be along the frontage road or what?
No, it'll be along the curve going towards Tony Butler. Okay. So between the football fields and the swimming pool. So it'll be on that side.
Okay.
And then, so we were to do any, if we were to add a restroom to it, of course, it'd be $225,000. But I think what we want to do is if we were to submit something, we'd focus more on the parking lot. CB Wood Park. If y'all recall, we did a project several years ago where we put a new playground there. So we wanted to kind of continue on that one as well. Maybe build a pavilion, add parking to it, and then of course restrooms. And so those are the cost estimates that we have for those three projects, which is the pavilion would be about 146,000. The parking lot, the additional parking spaces would be about 52,000, and then new restrooms would be 225. So I think that if we were to do a pavilion, it kind of, you would have to have some type of restroom facilities, right? So it kind of goes hand in hand. If we do the pavilion, we'd have to build restrooms. And so those two would kind of have to tie together, and then eventually we'd have to add more parking. Rangerville, we were thinking about, there's a lot of open land there, and so our idea was to build either baseball fields or football fields there. So what we'd have to do is level, bring in dirt to raise the site, and then create drainage and irrigation, and then we would add lights. I think Mondo was looking at the area measuring off, and so I think he said we can probably fit one football field and maybe a baseball field. He can chime in if he has if it's different, but so the fields to rebuild those, that's $100,000, and then to light it would be 175. So it'll be similar to what we did at Vestal Park. And then the fifth project would be Wilson Sports Complex improvements, and that would be to improve the existing fields that are there off of Wilson Street. And that would be to improve those fields. It'll be about 75,000. And then if we added the sports field lighting, that's 175,000. And then I have Vestal Park improvements, phase 3, which is to it's actually just to add the lighting. My bad, I had the field. So if we were to add lighting, it'll be about another 175,000 to add the lighting to the third field.
Hey, Javier.
Yes.
As far as some of these projects, what about finishing the phases there, like at the soccer complex? Because weren't they supposed to have a baseball field there and a football field and all that as well?
Yeah, the soccer complex, it was a mirror image of what's there now. It was gonna be flipped over and on the west side. So it was gonna be more soccer fields, another restroom, another pavilion, and more parking. But the soccer complex is outside of the
I only got 20 cents. I'll give you the nickel in a
CDBG.
minute. You can give me a quarter and I'll give it to you in a little while.
CDBG. It's outside of their area, right? So it's not eligible.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
And this one we're gonna vote to which one to move on, or
Yeah,
just bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up, and so if y'all have any ideas, if y'all would like to vote on these, we could, or if you want to leave it up to us, we can do the same thing, or if you want to add anything to the list. I accidentally hung up on Ron. Let me call him back. I was trying to put him on mute because he was talking while we're on, so.
Hello?
Ron, I'm sorry, I accidentally hung up on you.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
was listening up until I think Wilson Road improvements.
yeah, so okay, Wilson, and then we had Vestal Park improvements, which is phase 3. That's just adding lighting to the third field that's there. And the last project that I was gonna mention to you was Victor Park Pool Splash Pad. We only have one splash pad in the city. And so our idea was to add a second one to Victor Pool. And so that cost us 400,000. That may be more than what CDBG has to offer. but it's just an idea of some of the improvements that we want to do. And
Okay, is that the last one?
yes.
Javier, what is is there a limit to the grant application for CDBG, or what is the typical award? Can you give us an idea of what we're working with?
Well, it kind of varies, right? So what we do is we share some of the funds with Public Works for the streets department. And so they'll fund some street repairs. And so just depending on how the ratio of share goes, one year when we did Vestal, I think we got all 100%, and it was like 300 and I want to say like 320. And so that included the repairs to the parking lot, the new playground, and then the lighting of the first field. And so this last go around, there was money to do the second field, which was running us 100 and I think it was 125,000. But the reason it was so inexpensive, I say compared to the first phase, was because we had already put the poles up, and so we're sharing the lights on that pole in the middle of both fields. So that's why our cost would be more expensive to do the third field, because it's going to be 100%. We're going to have to put all 6 new light poles and fixtures. So anyway, I'm not sure if I answered your question. So other years we've only received maybe like 150,000 or 175. Like for example, CB Wood, we got 150 for that playground. Hunter, I want to say was also 125,000. So just depends on how lucky we are. If we get the full share of the funds, or if we have to share it with the streets department.
Does it hurt to submit it all?
No, we could. The only thing we have to do is we have to prioritize. If we submit, more than one, we'd have to prioritize which ones we would like to get. So when we do our presentation to the board could either go with our recommendation, or they could select another one.
Javier, and those funds have to be specifically for those items or those parks, or can it be for other stuff?
Well, it could be it has to be a something that's park related, of course, but it has to also be in an area that's eligible through the low mod income area for CDBG.
Yeah. My thing is, like, what about putting some hand wash stations or something, sanitized stations in these parks, so that way when we open, we're already, you know what I mean? Like, we can get like by the playgrounds or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm going to be discussing that in the next item, but I see your point. But what would happen, Abel, is that by the time we get the funding from this year's, we'd probably open up the parks already, and it may not benefit us. So, but I think that if we were to do something like that, open up the fields or the playgrounds or whatever, we're gonna have to fund that through our operational budget.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Okay. Do we have any preferences? I mean, I just in the past, couple of years, much of citizen communication and discussion has come from lack of or shortage of fields. I feel like we've heard a lot from, the community about having to share fields or lighting, or not being able to run 2 leagues at the same time. And I just wonder if adding lighting to Wilson, or I'm sorry, adding lighting to Vestal, or just creating more fields might ease some of that congestion that we hear a lot about in these meetings.
Right. So on Vestal, and just to give the board an idea, so we have two of the three fields will be lit this year. And so the third field would not have lights. Now, what they could do is like they could use that one for practice and then have the other two fields for actual games, if necessary. So maybe looking at, like you said, the sports complex, getting those to be actual true sports fields, and Rangerville.
And Rangerville, I was going to say that would be adding another football field and another basketball field. And if we did the lighting at 275, would that be easing some of the congestion that community members have been expressing to us?
I think so. I mean, I don't know what you think.
They're gonna be fenced in, or they're gonna be open? Because I mean, if it's open, it doesn't really help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we would fence those, like we do at the other ones. What do you think, Lupe or Armando, on the comments from Adele?
I agree. I think it would definitely help as far as the congestion in the fields, like she's saying. If we're able to fit, I think we've had more issues with the football leagues. So if we're able to do at least one football field with lights, it would fenced in, it would definitely help.
Okay.
I think that would take a lot of pressure off of Victor Park, because I know there was a lot of concern over not being able to run multiple leagues or have games, or games were going way into the night. So if we had another fenced lit field, it might solve a lot of the issues that we've heard from community members. Not that all of the other projects you talked about aren't worthwhile. I wish we could do them all, but I'm just wondering, for purposes of what we've heard, maybe that might be what we push.
Okay.
That sounds good, Adele.
I agree, Adele.
I'm good with it.
All right, so do y'all want to take action and then we can hear from Ron?
Sure. Do you want a second project in case they don't like, do you want us to have a plan B, or do you just want to keep pushing fields?
Yeah, no. If you can give me a second one, that would be great.
Okay. So
Even a third.
Yeah, so maybe Rangerville would be our first option, since it's an additional field, right? With lights. So that would be our plan A. And then
I would say Vestal, then Rangerville, no? Because Vestal already has a lighting.
Well, go ahead.
Well, my concern is it had fields, but only 2 are lit. So we would only be lighting one more. So we're not adding a field. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we could, if we did Rangerville, we would be adding a completely new field that could accommodate 100 more kids or what have you. So I don't, does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So maybe Rangerville, and then Vestal. And then board, do y'all want to go with like a different option, like a parking lot to Victor, or a splash pad, or something? All of those seem very worthwhile to me.
But we're trying to prioritize these 4. Is that what we're trying to do?
He'd like at least a plan A and a plan B, and if we could give a C, that one would be good too.
I would say Victor for C.
Yeah. And then the splash pad, the last one, because they don't have the complete funds for the splash pad. So
Mr. Mendez,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes.
Prior to the vote, if I might just chime in on one thing, which is you mentioned that there's all right at the present. There's one splash pad in town, correct? And where is that located?
Lonsey Hill.
Okay. In this prioritization, I would just like to say that I think the splash pad at Victor should be put as the number one necessity, and that's the extent of my comment on that. I would ask one last thing. I don't think unless somebody commits a murder, I'm obligated to maybe say something, even if I don't prevent it. If you can leave me on the phone, I'm not going to make any further comment, but if you can leave me on the phone for the next item, I'd appreciate it.
Okay,
I'm done. Thanks.
thanks. Okay,
Javier, is it easier if we rank each project you gave us, or if we gave you plan A, B, and C by just topic? Does that make sense?
yeah,
So-
yeah, you can just give me the topic or the
Okay.
location and
So, board, would it behoove us to lump additional fields with lighting and fencing as plan A, and then see what gets approved there? Does that make sense? And then plan B would be, whatever whatever topic, but it's not each project. Does that make sense? Am I making any?
Yes, Adele, that makes sense.
So we would say, our first thing that we want you to go after, Javier, is additional fields, lighting, and fencing. That's
Right.
our number one. So if it's not at Rangerville, then it's somewhere, but it's additional lighting, fencing, and fields.
Yes.
And then our second thing we want you to go after is parking or pavilions, or if that makes sense. Javier, will that work for you?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I think we're in agreement on at least our first. Do I have any suggestions on what our plan B or C would be?
I think the splash pad, because we don't have enough money for the splash pad, right? He said we only have a certain amount.
Right. So that the splash pad is we've estimated 400,000. That's on the low end, right? So that would take up all of the normal funding from CDBG, and so we'd still be short. So the city would have to pitch in the difference.
Yeah. I don't know. I would wait on that then.
And Victor Pool is heavily used, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But it needs new plumbing, and it needs shade structures, and it needs new decking.
Yeah, and so if I were to say, okay, if I get the option of just funding, if you only gave me a certain amount, right? So and for me to decide, do we do the plumbing and the decking over the shades, then I would do the plumbing and decking, right? Because the infrastructure, a lot of it has already been upgraded, right? So we 2 years ago we did the pump room, we did all the new pumps, all the new plumbing there, and we also did the ramp, the ADA ramp there. So now what was lacking was, of course, the all new plumbing outside from the pump room to the pool. And so we would put new, I forget what they're called, the skimmers. We put all new plumbing going back to the pump room. And then we, of course, we'd have to remove the decking. So we would replace all that new decking with, if it's just concrete or that cool deck. And so that would be my priority for Victor. The shades we can do later, but there's one shade area, like a little picnic area right now, and so a lot of people use it. And so we built two similar ones at Lonsey Hill, which we ran out for parties.
Yeah, and that one doesn't seem decking and plumbing on a heavily used pool seems pretty reasonable to me at 98,000. And it would benefit a lot of kids, right?
Right.
Okay, well, I would propose that be our plan B, but board, I'd love to hear from you guys if you have another idea.
That's
I
fine.
agree as B.
Okay, Javier, you want to C? You want to plan C?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay, board, we still have CB Wood. And that is the park, if you don't remember, it's the one you can go toward Bogus when you're on the Arroyo Trail, or you can turn to the right and go up towards CB Wood. It's a neighborhood park, but it's beautiful and shaded. And so it would bring bathrooms, not just from McKelvey, but then you could also go to, at the end of the trail, we'd have restrooms at both ends. And then, so the other one would be, CB Wood, parking at Victor, and a splash pad at Victor seems like our other options.
I say that's splash pad, but I don't know.
I like the idea of CB Wood. Only in my preference because I'm a runner and that's the bathrooms and all of that is very accessible there.
Which one is used the most? Per se.
That park is the one over there on Harding, right? Or one of those streets back there?
Yes.
It's like hidden.
It's a little hidden gem.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Runners are very well familiar with that area.
It's very well shaded.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
I would say our our trails get a lot more use than the pools because they're year round. To answer Philip's question.
I hadn't thought of that. That's true.
Very true. I agree.
Yeah.
But then I may be biased.
Well, I'm taking my kids out there, and if you don't have a bathroom, you either have to go home or the next closest bathroom is down the trail all the way to Arroyo Park, which is about a mile. So
and run for it.
But do you think it'll be safe, the restroom there, considering that it's a hidden place? And I mean, do you think stuff will happen there, or that's what I'm thinking about,
No, it's like every other place, trail.
Yeah.
They may not be the best cleaned, sanitized, but you know what? When you have to go, and it does the job. Especially that new area, the CBD.
I'm trying to picture it. That's why I'm trying to see, but it's been years since I've been through there. So.
Well, it's. I don't think we've had very much vandalism out there, Abel. And the other thing, the neighborhood, I think they take care of that park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
they really do. You're right about that, Javier. Nothing is broken in that park. I've never seen graffiti. It's very because all of the houses, literally look out onto it, and so it's I think the neighborhood, they really take care of it.
It's a good locality there.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense what Diana was saying. So I don't know. I'll go for that one then.
Okay, so y'all want to do CB Wood as the option C then?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So we would do additional fields, fencing, lighting as our option 1. Our option 2 is Victor Park plumbing and decking, and if we could, shade as well. And then option 3 would be CB Wood restrooms and whatever else we could fit in there as park improvements. Do I hear a motion from the board?
I make a motion.
I second it.
Second, anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Next item up is a discussion and update on a draft reopening plan for park playgrounds and other amenities.
Okay, so I shared with y'all the plan. I sent it to y'all last night via email. And so I just want to touch on a few things, right? So because of the governor's orders, the mayor thought that, maybe we ought to look at reopening, coming up with a plan to reopen our playgrounds. And so just a couple of things I would just want to kind of summarize everything that I put together on this reopening plan was that the staff would go out and initially clean all the playgrounds with soap and water, because that's what the CDC guidelines or recommendations are, that you wash them down with soap and water, and then from there on we can disinfect them with the chemical that we use in our electrostatic equipment. So what Mondo will be doing is he'll get his staff to first thing in the morning, they would disinfect them, and then in the afternoon around 2 p.m. disinfect them again. And this will be every day. And so we'll close them down for 15 minutes while they disinfect and let them dry, and then he'll open them back up. And what we'll do is we'll have sanitizing stations at each playground. As soon as you walk in, it'll have all the rules that you need to abide by, and then would have the sanitizing station, hand sanitizer station there at each entrance. And of course, there'll be requirements. You have to have your mask. We're gonna limit the occupancy of all playgrounds to, I think there's a 1/3 occupancy for playgrounds right now. So that's what we would be using. So we'd have to get a occupancy for each of the playgrounds areas. And so each sign will be different. Each sign would have the occupancy load. And so people know we wouldn't let more than 10 people gather in the area. And I think that was, those are the only things that we are requiring. It's just, you wash your hands or sanitize them, wear your face covering, and then social distance. And so
as far as that, Javier, though, I mean, is the police gonna police that, or they're just, I mean, are they gonna address when they see stuff? Because I've talked to some of them and they don't care. You know what I mean? It's just like,
well,
I'm not gonna enforce anything.
yeah.
And
a lot of it is self-enforcement, Abel, and so it's going to be difficult for us too as well. If we see people, getting too close or not wearing their mask or whatever, it's going to be tough for us to enforce a lot of these. But we're going to have to depend on the parents, on the adults, for them to self-enforce some of these rules.
And that's the problem. That's the problem down here with the culture down here. Nobody cares. It's just like, whatever. And I don't know.
But it's up to the parents to do what's best for their children.
Right. So
and I have a child and I take them to the playground, I'm going to make sure that they follow the guidelines and are, going strictly by what has to be done for our own good.
Yeah.
So some of the things that are being implemented now with some of the businesses and of course with the public buildings, we're just continuing with those things, right? With the face masks, the social distancing. If you feel sick, stay home. And so one of the things that we also included here, if there's too many people, recommending that they come back at another time when it's less busy. The last thing I have here is we're going to be evaluating the level of community transmissions, right? So if there's a tick in the number of cases, then we're going to have to shut them down again, right? And so this plan here is going to give us that ability to do that.
Yeah. Hey Javier, I'm for it. I'm for opening again, but like I was talking to you the other day, I think after Easter would be good because here they have people sleeping at the parks to try to get the pavilion, and they get their whole family together in a big old thing, and I think that's going to be a problem with the playgrounds and the pavilions. So I mean, I say that yes, but till after Easter, it's a
Okay.
couple of weeks. So
Yeah. So this is a draft, and what we want to do is submit it to our health director, the health authority, and then of course ultimately the mayor, right? He would have to sign off on it and approve it. And so he would kind of tell us when he wants to open up the parks, depending on when Mondo can have everything ready for us. So
All right, Mondo, pressure's on you.
No pressure, no pressure.
There's just thousands and thousands of kids at home with no exercise. No pressure at all, but
I think I get enough pressure from the 2 that I have at home. So
I bet.
So he's going to practice what he preaches.
yes, ma'am, of course.
Okay, do you need a motion that the board suggests, taking it further up the chain, or?
well, it's not an action item. It was just a discussion
Okay.
made. So
Okay. All right, is the next thing on the agenda updates?
yes, and so I'm gonna turn it over to let me see. Let me get the PowerPoint up. Okay.
hey Javier, is there any word when they're going to open up the leagues?
That's we haven't discussed that yet. Of course, that'll be coming up pretty soon, though. So I need to work on one for that as well.
Okay.
Do I take it?
I get questions all the time at place. So they're always like, anything? I'm like, I have no idea, man. I'm just waiting.
I'm on the board for Boys and Girls Club, and the basketball league is starting on Tuesday, I believe. And so maybe that's just something to watch to see how that goes, and to see if we can learn any best practices or suggestions, or what to do or what not to do, right? So that starts next week. So just a heads up.
All right. You want to take it, Mondo?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon again, board. Hope you guys are doing okay. So I'm going to kind of try to get through this a little quick because some of the staff has somewhere to be. But the first slide here is going to be the destination park. If you all have not had time to drive by, I recommend that you do. This first slide is the front entrance that they've already finished up. You can see how the grass has begun to come in. All that hydro mulch that got sprayed a few weeks back is coming through. So the park's looking a lot nicer. I got a couple of slides here that we want to show you guys just of some of the stuff throughout the park. You can jump. This next one here is the splash pad. I know we've showed it to y'all in the past, but this is what it looks now with all the greenery around. Normally this area here where it's mulched, there's going to be some, these are flower beds. So we'll have some flowers and plants in there. Due to the freeze, we did happen to lose quite a bit of what had just recently been planted. So the landscapers are actually out there replacing whatever was frozen and it's not going to be salvageable, and then trimming down whatever they think is going to be able to come back. So when this is all said and done, all those areas where you see only mulch should have nice plants and flowers. The other night, Javier and myself were out there. Now that the park's been energized, kind of taking some pictures of what the park looks like at night. This is the larger pavilion in the park, which is right across the street from the Boys and Girls Club. So this is what it looks like at night. The guys went ahead and installed all the tables that are inside. So as you can see, it looks really nice. I'm sure it's going to be a big attraction for people to host their birthday parties and stuff once we get back open.
Are they going to have to rent that pavilion, or is that just going to be open?
That's going to be open as of right now, yes. So the next slide is also some more pictures. If you see the one on the left, this is kind of what it looks like when you're walking through the trail at night. As the way it's set right now, they're on sensors to where the lights would dim as you walk and you get within 20 feet, I believe it is, of the actual light. The lights, the dimmers would come on and the lights would get a little brighter. I know that we've talked about setting that to where they're just on the entire time. But again, these slides are just some of the stuff throughout the park. You can see this is the playground area where the winter rye and the hydro mulching got sprayed and it's already come through. And in the bottom right corner slide is the fountain, which looks really nice. Right there, it's colored in reddish orange. If you stick around and watch the whole cycle, it basically goes through every single color before the fountain actually turns off.
So so kids can get in that one as well?
Correct.
Oh, okay. So we do have 2-ish splash pads then.
Yes, we will. And then the neat thing about this one is that it has a pedestal with the sensor on it. So it will stay off, but when there's kids and parents out there, they can run up, touch the sensor, the fountain comes on, the lights come on, and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yes.
So the next slide is going to be the tennis center over at Pendleton Park. There hasn't been a whole lot in these last 2 or 3 weeks just because of the weather, the freeze, everything that had been going on. It kind of slowed down the contractors a bit. I added a slide here on the bottom right, which is just a little project that my guys did in-house, giving a little facelift, I guess you could say, to the area where they have the trash bins and stuff for the HB tennis center, which was a bit of an eyesore. The guys came back, added some paneling and some cedar trim just to kind of make it look nice. But we have an order in right now with AP. We're currently waiting for them to go out and remove a pedestal and a transformer that is in the way of the contractors. As soon as they get that out of the way, which we're hoping this coming week, we should see some more progress there. The next one is going to be for the Victor Park tennis courts. I don't know if we got to update you guys on this the last time. I know we canceled the last board meeting, but we had a contract with LED Electric to come in and replace all the lights, the fixtures at the Victor Park tennis courts. So we went ahead and changed them from the old high pressure sodium floodlights that we had out there to these new LED. It's called Triton G2 Stadium lights. So these lights are amateur playable, or I guess you could say certified for amateur play. They're indoor, outdoor stadium lights. They went ahead and mounted, I believe, 6 lights per pole. So this is what the park looks like now. If you had been out there in the past, you could see that. I mean, it's night and day, and we have received compliments from the coach and the players over at Harlingen South, and then anybody, some of the everyday park users that have been out there that go out there and play at night have also expressed that it looks a lot better, and just put a picture of the actual fixture itself of what is being used on there as well. So if you have time to drive by there at night, take a look at the new lights. It looks really nice. Other than that, obviously parks, I mean, we've been all doing other events. We recently had the voucher, the COVID-19 vaccine voucher distribution and the actual vaccine site. All of our staff here, including Betsy and Christina and Lupe, Adam, myself, who, been out there assisting with just taking information down from the citizens to giving away the vouchers. Lupe and myself have been out there, helping the guys out with traffic control and stuff like that. So these events have ran real smooth for us. I think the staff has done a good job. The plan was well done as well. And we've received compliments also from people about not having to wait in line for hours to get their vouchers and their vaccination. And then I think this may be my last slide, but this is also just, we're still doing the food distribution, which is every other Wednesday. So we're doing 2 Wednesdays in the month. In case you happen to know anybody in need, we are still out there every other Wednesday handing out whatever the RGV Food Bank brings for us to distribute. Also, most departments are out there, you know, giving a hand. Most of our park staff is out there. We usually have code enforcement. I know health is out there, PD cadets, and also fires. So kind of all hands on deck, but also those run pretty smoothly. And this is the Arroyo Trail. I think a couple months back, I reported the guys completed the first, we redid the first bridge over by McKelvey. We've already completed the second one, which is closest to Arroyo Park, removing all the boards, all the trim. The guys put all new boarding, new trim, and then they're gonna come back and they'll paint all the beams and everything, all the whatever steel will get painted to a galvanized color. So for those of you who use our walking trails, if you saw that they had kind of been that one was out of service this last week or two, it was because of the construction, but now it's back open and we're just going to be painting the last bridge that is closest to Bogus Ford. We do have all the material on hand already, so as soon as the guys get a chance, they'll start working on that one, and we'll complete the three bridges over on the walking trails.
Good job.
And my last one is going to be also a little bit of an update. This project is not 100% complete, but we are about 50-60%. We had been receiving some complaints from citizens, you know, stating that there was people out on the trails walking their dogs, not picking up after them. So we went ahead and we started installing these pet waste stations, which basically is just a sign, a dispenser with pet waste bags and trash receptacle also. So as of right now, they're all complete on the 25th Street Trail, and the guys were starting over at McKelvey today. So they will be installed every half a mile. You'll run into one of these. So for those people that are out there walking their dogs, hopefully this should make it easier for them to pick up after them.
That is very cool.
Good job. I saw this the other day.
That is awesome. Armando, your team is doing a great job. Thank you for, you know, it's a tough time during COVID for the community, and the fact that you guys are out there doing food distribution every other week, that's huge. And the vaccine vouchers and the vaccines. Thank your team for us.
I sure will. Thank you, board.
The community.
So I think Mondo may leave us because he has to go get his vaccine, his second dose. So I think they have him scheduled.
Oh man, get ready, Armando, with the Tylenol.
Yes.
Good thing it's a Friday.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we want to go on the trail extension, there hasn't been a whole lot of progress. They've had some issues with for the construction. So what they've done is they've submitted a change order of how to build the base of the trail. Because normally what they do is they'll put lime, they'll stabilize the base, and then they'll come back and bring caliche or limestone, and then they'll lay the asphalt. Well, they're having problems trying to get equipment down to the site to be able to apply the lime. So they're recommending a different method. And so we sent that to our engineer for him to review and give his suggestions, recommendations, or approval. And so that's all we're waiting for from them so they can proceed with the next phase of the project. But the other thing that we're waiting for also is back over by the closer to Dixieland. There's an irrigation canal pipe that goes underneath the trail, and it's leaking. And so we're waiting for the Harlingen Irrigation District to go out there and fix it. It's a 72-inch line, and so we want them to repair it before we continue with the progress in that area. Because we don't want them to fix. I mean, us to do the trail and then have them tear up our trail and then fix it. So we're trying to coordinate with them that repair. And as far as the grant projects, we did get word from people, trying to remember the name of the grant. It's People for Bikes or People, I think it's People for Bikes. And so, so we did get approval to submit the grant application because what we did was we originally submitted just a letter of intent. And so now they've responded and they said, you know what, go ahead and submit your full application. So, so that's good news. On the other two grants that we submitted to Texas Parks and Wildlife, we're still waiting to hear back from them. And so I'm going to take up recreation. So there hasn't been a lot going on with recreation. Betsy and Christina, they've been putting on these virtual classes through Salud 50 and through the city parks recreation division, right? So, but those are the only things that have been going on. It's been pretty quiet in the recreation division. And so I'm not sure if Lupe has anything on athletics, but he's been in some of these meetings with other cities, trying to figure out what they're doing with their fields, with their leagues, and so just so that we're all on the same page with the other cities, trying to open up. And so I think Edinburgh is one of the ones that has opened up a lot more than other cities. They've opened up a lot of their fields, sports fields. And the last thing I got is aquatics. I think Jacob, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm still here. I do have to get going soon too for the vaccine. But just to chime in really quickly, I guess the biggest thing going on right now is that one of our gas lines for Pendleton Pool to our water heater ended up breaking at some point. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with the area, but basically from, if you know Pendleton Park, the pool is quite a distance away from the meter, and the meter is right next to, I guess, where the old Kmart used to be. Right there on that road at the main entrance to the park, and it travels all the way from the meter underground across the trail and whatnot to get to the pool. So with that, there's a leak somewhere along the way. We're not exactly too sure where it's at. So after some conversation, we felt like the best course of action would be to put the meter closer to the pool. That way, in case anything like this happens again, we'll be able to address it a lot quicker. With that being said, it's going to take some time to coordinate that. So I believe the time frame that we were given was about 3 to 4 weeks until we can get that meter in and then have everything set up to get the boiler going again. So that's pretty much our game plan going on right now. In addition to that, since that's already set up and I guess in motion, aside from that, all we really have is lap swimming still going on. With the freeze, it was a little cold, so at the moment, things are looking good, though. We do have our regulars that are continually going, even with the temperatures. I think right now they're around 74 degrees. And so for the most part, everything's still running smoothly. We've also hosted a military survival training. Somebody from the military reached out, asked if they can use our facility. So we hosted that. And we were also reached out by the Rio Grande State Center. They also have a pool and they needed some certifications. So we'll be coordinating with them over spring break to get them their certifications that they need. And that's pretty much all I have right now.
Was there anything else on the agenda, Javier?
No, the last thing that I got is just discussion and possible, the normal one, right? The discussion and possible action. Discussion and possible direction on the city staff as to any items to be placed in future board agendas.
Or do y'all have any quick items you'd like to have for future agendas?
I don't.
Alrighty. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
One last thing before we adjourn, Adele, I just want to let y'all know, I'm not sure if y'all have heard, but David has left us. He moved on back to the city of Weslaco. So it's been a few weeks now since he's been gone. So, and I think we're going to try to bring that up at the last meeting, but of course, it didn't happen. But yeah, he's gone. So I got an opening.
Alrighty. Okay, I think I heard a motion and a second. Is that correct? Any opposed to adjourning?
Nope.
Okay, meeting is adjourned at 1:06 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Bye.
Bye.
I
Thanks.